Hi everyone. Okay, let's dive right in to your My Virtual Life simulation. So this video will walk you through a little bit about some of the details of it, and we will get rolling. This is a really cool simulation, and I've done it myself, and it really makes you think. It's not just kind of a corny walkthrough of a simulation of a child's life. So, and it is very well informed by different theorists. You know, Vygotsky's theory, Kohlberg, Piaget, lots of different trains of thought and decisions that you have to make as the simulation parent that will affect the outcome of your virtual child. So again, the ultimate premise of this project is that you're raising a virtual child, and the decisions you make ultimately affect the outcome of your child across several different domains like emotionality and sociability and things like that. So very interesting in my opinion. Um, I have gone through this, and it is not so easy. It really does make you think. So I'm hoping that you guys can really dive into it and learn some interesting things. So first, if you go to your Blackboard page, our Blackboard page, and you go to Unit 3, and you go to My Virtual Life Simulation, it's going to be the last document in the module. This will come up. And this document walks you through everything with the simulation. It's 10 pages long, so it also has all the questions you need to answer and turn in. But this walks you through a lot of specifics and kind of briefs you on a lot in a little bit more detail than I'm doing here. So please make sure you read these first couple pages. It gives you some basic directions, which are important here too. So please abide by all of these, and I'll go over a little bit of those here. And then Appendix A goes over all of the questions that you need to answer about your child via the simulation. So we will come back to that in a minute. But you want to go to My Development Lab, My Virtual Life, enter. You're going to come to a page that looks like this. You might have to use your course ID, which can also be found on Blackboard under Critical Course Information in order to register yourself and your child. You get to choose your child name. Mine is Ellie. She's still alive, which is great. Um, and you have to register kind of yourself as the parent because they use your own characteristics to kind of simulate genetic heritage. Um, so just be honest with those questions. It's kind of fun. I can't see those questions with how you respond to them, so I wouldn't worry about privacy about anybody seeing those things. And none of them are super pervasive. It's like, um, some questions about your emotionality and about your cognitive abilities and things like that. So, okay. So, wanted to just show you a little bit what the simulation is like. This is Ellie. And if we go to 18 months, you will see that these dots here just indicate your progress. And it asks you questions that you have to select. So Ellie is fairly calm most of the time, but sometimes she starts whining and fussing when she's very tired or overstimulated, and you have to pick which one that you would kind of select. So I choose you try to be sensitive to Ellie's moods. When she seems overstimulated, you suggest a nap or a quiet activity. You will find that in these answers, there's not like a necessarily a right answer. There are some answers you might be like, oh no, I'm not doing that. And that's perfectly fine. But we're all just like all parents, we're all going to have very different styles in how we kind of go about things. You will see some of the theories kind of coming through, or some of the course material and research that we've gone over kind of shining through in a lot of these questions and a lot of these answers. What I wanted to show you though is if you go to, we got to go to 19 months, and at the end of every major life section, um, you have this kind of report given by um, given by some sort of professional in the field, and these are relatively realistic. These reports are very important. You will be using these reports to answer your questions for the My Virtual Life simulation. So I got another report on Ellie when she was, I believe it was 12, maybe 8 months or 12 months, that first large stint of life, from a physician, and it was about the same length. So this information you will certainly use for your answers, but you will use other information too, like this this little snippet here. Ellie is able to imitate actions or words that she has seen or heard days before, and then some other stuff. All these little snippets can kind of add up. How you answer your questions can also play a role in your answers. So, it will give you, Ellie is able to walk, run, and climb now at 18 months and can get into dangerous situations pretty fast. So that. So, be able to use that snippet of information for your answer. So the good news is, of course, is that you can go back through all of these questions that you answered, and of course see the final reports at the end of each age section. So, so at 12 months here, you have actually that's not a report, that's an opening too. Okay, so this is the report from the pediatrician that I was talking about at 8 months, so you can use that, of course. These questions here, you do not have to answer these questions. They are the same thing. This is very important, actually. These are the same questions you will find on this document. Okay? Please do not answer them here on the computer in the program. You can if you want to, that's perfectly fine, but you do not have to. This is not where I will be reading your responses. What I need you to do for the project is to answer your questions in a Word document and submit it on Blackboard in the necessary submission area. So you can create a new Word document and just, 0 to 8 months, 1, 2, 3, 8 to 19 months, 1, 2, 3. That is perfectly fine. You could use this document right here and type up your answer right here. One thing that you guys have here is a little rubric for each of your questions. So, 1 point for describing your virtual child's behavior in each of the 2 domains and referring to what might be expected at these ages. So obviously I will be grading you based on these criteria for each question, and every question has that little criteria with the point associated with it. So what you will need to do for a lot of these answers is, of course, talk about your own child from the simulation and compare it to information from our readings. So, for instance, it will ask you to compare if your child is on time in terms of developmental milestones, or if they're not. This question asks you about how is attachment to you and your partner going, what's happening at the 3 and 8-month-year-old period. So you're going to have to look up Bowlby and Ainsworth in our book, and you're going to have to read about that and kind of research how your child's doing. So you guys can see how this is going to take a lot of time, because I can tell you that the simulation takes some time if you're doing it right and you're actually reading each question and thinking about it briefly and answering. It definitely takes some time. Then you have to respond to all these answers. And the first simulation again goes into young adulthood. So it does certainly take some time. That's why I recommend you start as soon as you can. This is definitely not something that can be done in one night. But I just want to go over one more time that you do not have to put in your answers to these questions here. Please put them in a Word document that indicates the age range. So again, 0 to 8 months, answer your questions. 8 to 19 months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or however many questions, answer your questions, okay? And then submit it on Blackboard All right. This this program does save. So if you go to your dashboard here, and if I were to log out, um, Ellie's progress does save. You can reset if you want to, but don't press that button unless you don't want to reset. Um, Otherwise, you can just, it will save automatically and you can hit continue and it will bring you back to where you were. Now, um, you can't change answers once you've clicked them. So if you go to, you can't change anything once you've clicked it. Kind of like actually parenting. You can't kind of take something back once you do it. So just keep that in mind, but you can reset if you want to reset. However, I don't highly recommend this, especially if you're, at like age 8 and you hit the reset button. That's a lot of work you have to do over again. So, okay, I think I've gone through everything, guys. Just wanted to walk you through a little bit, especially the idea that to create your own document and submit your answers on Blackboard via the document, and kind of this document in general, again, goes over everything for you that we've talked about for the most part. And I hope you have a lot of fun with this, because I do think it is a kind of unique and fun project. And again, I will tell you that it is not super easy, because it does ask you some interesting questions, and a lot of the questions are not super black and white, or the responses are not super black and white. You have to think about it for a minute or two. So, all right, everyone. Please email me with any questions that you have about any of the questions that you have to respond to, or the virtual life simulation. Thank you.